Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
And away we go indeed. What is going on, everybody? Another season of Before I Die, because we just want just one Super Bowl before we die. Brought to you by friends at Purple Daily. Naturally, I'm Jesse Pierce. I've been around. You guys know me. You love me. You hate me. Either way, I am wearing green despite being a Vikings fan. I apologize. We'll get through it. We will. I promise. Joining me, however, two new faces, not new to the Viking fandom, not new to the fan base. We've got Leighton. We've got Jason. Boys, how we feeling? Are we excited? Are we amped to go Before I Die? A new rendition, if you will, this year.
Yeah, I'm feeling pumped. I mean, football is right around the corner. Preseason games, obviously, they're not the most exciting games. I think Jason can agree with that. He was there in attendance on Saturday afternoon, but it's just getting the eyes adjusted to football on the screen. Haven't seen it on the screen in a while, so it's just the green grass, getting your eyes ready for 4 or 5 months of that consistently throughout the week.
Yeah, I think after being at every public training camp practice and then the 2 preseason games, I'm ready for some quote unquote real football. I want that pit of my stomach anxiety and depression. I'm looking forward to having that week 1 in Chicago. I'm sure that will go over well. Won't get too excited or boisterous or soul crushingly sad. Totally won't happen.
Yet, right.
Totally won't base my entire mental health on a week 1 game.
Yeah, no overreaction. Vikings fans never overreact.
No, we're totally the most level-headed people in the NFL.
We're going to get to some unhingedness as we move on again. Some couple new segments that we will introduce to you guys on our Before I Die episode. But first things first, boys. You said preseason. It's where we're working out kinks. We're getting looks at guys. We're trying to figure out what this 53-man roster might look like. JJ McCarthy, looking pretty good. We're good with that as our QB1, right? We're comfortable. We're confident. However, there's questions at QB2 now, probably even more questions than I had heading into it. That was always going to be a little bit of a concern. We're all in on JJ. The backup situation, questionable. Sam Howell, not looking good. Let's start with you, Jason. What did you see about the QB2 situation so far? And then Leighton, love to hear your additional thoughts as well.
Well, I will say it's really funny thinking back to that first preseason game and seeing a lot of people victory lapping a bit on Phil, on Judd, on guys like myself for saying, hey, Sam Howell looks really bad at camp. Concerningly bad. Because Howell looked solid in the first preseason game. So, we all knew what we saw, and we knew, hey, maybe this preseason game was actually the rare instance of him being able to effectively run an offense. But I think this past Saturday really showed hey, the Vikings got to figure something out. The thing is that we can take a pause and be okay that we didn't invest really anything into Howell. It was a pick swap. We didn't lose any assets. We didn't give anything up. We can have the conversation of should they have invested in a backup quarterback at an earlier stage when guys like Minshew or people like that were available. I have some ideas of where I think they'll go. I do not think it will be Sam Howell. And much as I love Max Brosmer, I don't think he's quite ready to be the backup yet. But, I think that there's going to be some guys available. You look at a team like Cleveland or New York, they have too many quarterbacks to keep. We'll make some calls.
Can I put a play in for Sam Hartman of the Washington Commanders? Really just completely physically biased. I will admit that. That's what I would like. But, let's bring him in. I think he could throw sling some a little bit. Maybe. Anybody?
He looks like Paul Bunyan. He'll fit in Minnesota.
Right. So, Jason, are you completely out on Sam Howell making the 53?
I mean, the thing people say online is, it's just like having Nick Mullins. I don't know if that's a good thing. The thing about Nick Mullins that was really fun is when things went to absolute poop, it was really entertaining football. It was infuriating football, but man, it was really funny just to watch him throw it 60 yards and see what happened. Because you never knew. I don't even know if Howell's going to do that. I mean, he has that one season. I think he threw for 4,000 yards, but it's just, this team's going to have a very specific offense with JJ McCarthy. They're going to be methodical, focus on running out the clock, eating up time of possession, things like that. I don't see Howell being able to run that unless you completely change this year's offensive philosophy.
I mean, it does. Yes, it's preseason, and you don't want to get too concerned. But his 1-for-5 performance and only 6 yards plus the interception is brutal. Now, Jason, you said you're out on Max. Leighton, how do you feel about Max Brosmer? There's KOC gushed over him in his preseason performance. What are you thinking that where does he fit in? Does he slot in on this 53-man roster?
Yeah, I'm on the hype train for sure. I've been on the hype train before the draft, not so much like anything crazy he should be taken in the first, 2 days or anything outlandish like that. But it's like, I was keeping an eye on him, seeing where he was drafted. The thing about Max Brosmer, he's played a lot of football. He played 6 years in college, and kind of the trend we've seen with college quarterbacks, especially the ones who've stayed for 4 or 5 years, have actually been pretty successful right away in the NFL. Like the Brock Purdy's, they've played so many snaps. Bo Nix has played so many snaps of football, and that adds up. I mean, yeah, it's not getting NFL looks, but it's like Max Brosmer has almost played as much NFL football as JJ McCarthy has, if we're actually talking like NFL preseason looks, like putting the Vikings uniform on. He's done it almost just as many times as McCarthy has. Now, just because of experience, I don't think he's going to be quarterback 2. Usually in a backup quarterback, you like a guy who can kind of, I've experienced this in the NFL before. I want to, give some insight on that. So I do think like a Brett Rippon would be, kind of the leading candidate in that case scenario. But like Jason said, there's plenty of teams out there with multiple quarterbacks to where the Vikings can make a move. But I really do like Max Brosmer. And I think he's more of just like a KOC chess piece that he can just place there, and with the accuracy and with the release, it's like I think KOC can rely on this guy to really see the vision of what Kevin O'Connell wants, and he can make those throws to where it's like JJ McCarthy, I think, obviously is a little more talented going off script, and that's a lot more exciting to watch. But it's like what Max Brosmer has shown on the field, and then the way the coaching staff talks about him, it's like it's a very intriguing thing to watch for sure.
And just to clarify, I am not out on Brosmer. I actually really like him. I don't know if you want to go into a season with this talented of a team with a first-year starter and a first-year backup. Brosmer's blown my mind in camp. I think that he is an incredibly exciting and intriguing project that could also be an insurance policy. God forbid if McCarthy gets hurt or something happens there, or, Thor is going to get on me for even suggesting this is a possibility. I don't think it's going to happen, but if something doesn't work out as far as his ability to run the offense, we've seen what KO can do with these guys who have just been kind of not great throughout their careers. Having somebody moldable and excited and willing to listen, like Brosmer being a UDFA, I think over the next couple of years, he could become, at worst case, a valuable trade piece potentially. Those are the types of things where I think he's going to have a lot of value and for sure make the 53 for those reasons. He will not clear waivers if they try to put him on the squad.
Well, and for all the people being like, why are we even talking about the backup quarterback? Like JJ's the guy. It's like, well, if you know Vikings football, backup quarterback is like, we need someone. I mean, we've
2023.
If you haven't seen the past couple seasons of Vikings football, you need a backup quarterback, a capable backup quarterback without question.
And I'm just going to throw a name out there that could probably get Vikings fans excited. I mean, Case Keenum, why not? I think maybe the jersey sales would go up a little bit too. I think he'd have the highest jersey sales of any backup quarterback in the league.
I need that. As somebody who named my son after Case Keenum, I need that. I don't know if the Bears roster 3 quarterbacks, but I can't see them taking him over Tyson. They like him too much.
Oh, yeah.
My gut tells me, and I'm not saying this is the right move, I think Kenny Pickett is probably somebody we may likely see. Potentially.
Dive into that for me, Jason. What's giving you those inklings? What are you hearing? What are you seeing out there? I'd love to get inside your brain on that one.
KO likes those guys who he can mold. I think that's why he went with Howell. Is Howell's still relatively young? I think he was part of the 2022 draft. So was Pickett. Pickett's had more success than somebody like a Howell, right? I guess you could say he's been a little more steady. Maybe hasn't shown the flash of like 4,000 yards, so to speak. But I just think he's probably out of those guys who are young, maybe can still be coached and developed. He's probably the safest option. Personally, I'm like, if we're going to go chaos, forget Sam Howell, get Jameis Winston if he's available. That's what I would want to do. I just think Pickett probably ends up being the most realistic option of a guy who's available and relatively safe. And I say that with heavy quotes, given the fact that all these guys are going to have downsides.
Leighton, thoughts? Would you be okay with Kenny Pickett? Jameis Winston's name is being tossed out there.
Yeah, Jameis Winston would be on the Nick Mullins beat. Like, very exciting football, very exciting personality. The post-game speeches would be awesome. Football on the field, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if that's what KOC is looking for, but Kenny Pickett, I mean, that'd be fine. It's like, again, I hope we don't get to that spot, but it's like, I don't know. I don't really have much to say about Kenny Pickett, to be honest. It's just like,
it's
he's
just
like
fine. He's there.
Bust. Like, I don't know. He's fine. I feel like there's just a lot of guys out there that are on the same type beat as Kenny Pickett too.
Okay, that's fair. It's a name. What do you guys think? We'd obviously love to hear your thoughts on the QB2 situation. Again, we're all in on JJ, but now we spent 10 minutes talking about the QB2. Let's move on to other players on the field. Jason, Leighton, I know both you guys were out there on Saturday. Start with you, Jason. Who stood out? Is there any names that surprised you that you were like, hey, wow, we got to watch this guy, or yikes, this guy did awful, not looking good? Or any, it wasn't a sexy game by any stretch of the imagination. It's a preseason game, but anybody that particularly stood out to you?
Well, I think Miles Price is making things really interesting. I think if you talk to anybody before camp started, would have said, well, the returners are going to be Moore, Felton, and maybe Silas Bolden. Now we're in a situation where obviously Moore got hurt tragically. I hope he's doing okay. But is Felton really going to be on kick return? Possibly, probably not punt return. We're not 100% sure. Bolden might not even make the team. Miles Price, may have just earned himself a roster spot. And obviously Saturday is going to have a lot to do with that. But being at camp, it's really hard to tell what the return game looks like. But there were a number of guys not catching the ball in the right place, stepping out of bounds when they were putting the ball on the sidelines intentionally, things like that. So that gets interesting because that's obviously, he's listed as a wide receiver. That's going to make that position even more interesting as far as how many are rostered. But I'll tell you this, I've been on the train, Jesse and Leighton, from April till now, that a Mr. Oscar Chapman is going to save us a lot of trouble when it comes to putting our defense in manageable positions. Through camp, starting off, it was actually impressive to see Ryan Wright kind of fight for his job. He was actually doing pretty well, and Chapman was kind of right there with him. Obviously, the concern with Chapman is his issues with holding the football during kicks. But this week, Wednesday specifically, they did some punting. I believe Wright went 3 out of 4 out of bounds, and the one that he did keep in bounds went 20, 30 yards. It was bad, bad. If your punters going in their 4th year, I believe, and the number one thing that they've done for you as far as clutch plays was throwing for a first down conversion on 4th down, Jalen Naylor's first catch in London, I'll never forget that play. Then you have to have some conversations. Chapman, I was literally sitting there zooming in with my phone on his holds. I think he held on, I may be wrong, but I believe it was 3 of Reichard's 4 kicks, and all of those went in. So, that's something to work on over time. But man, Chapman can do a lot to put this defense in manageable situations. Then I think that's 100% worth rostering him.
Averaged 52 yards per punt for Oscar Chapman. So it makes things interesting. I love a good battle. I love pushing guys because that just makes Ryan Wright work that much harder to solidify his position too. So what about you?
Last year we thought,
I
was just going to say, last year we thought we were going to have a quarterback battle in camp. Obviously things went off, but this year everybody's excited about the punter battle. Love it. That means you got a lot of talent when you're sitting there being like, oh man, is it going to be the rookie or is it going to be the 4th year guy? Who holds better? This is great. I love this.
Who holds better? Exactly. That is so true.
Incredible.
It's just Little Giants material there. I just love it.
Yeah. Touching on that quick, I do think Ryan Wright is out. You don't put him out there to hold the ball if you're going to cut him next week. That's a pretty telltale sign. They're actually considering doing this. And I think I think the Vikings have been, discouraged with their special teams the last 3 seasons. And it's like, if you just roll Ryan Wright out there once again and he does the same thing he's done the last 2 seasons, you're going to look at yourself and be like, why did I just do that again? Like, if he's outperforming them in practice and preseason, I think that average that you mentioned, Jesse, I think that's like 6 or 7 yards higher than Wright's average last season. Obviously a way smaller sample size, but it's like, I mean, he's giving you all the signs that he's a better punter right now. And if he's holding, then that's great. Couple guys that stood out. I think these are guys that also kind of stood out in preseason week 1 as well. Elijah Williams, the interior defensive lineman, he had 5 total tackles on Saturday. I mean, this guy's a workhorse. He's giving signs of Jalen Redmond. I mean, he came out of the woodwork. He's an undrafted guy out of Morgan State FCS school. Like, nobody's paying attention to those guys really when they come out of, obviously there's the NDSU guys that pop up every now and then, but it's like FCS guy. I mean, he's just hard to block. I mean, the way he fires off the ball, he's quick. And I know he's got a lot of guys in front of him, including Jalen Redmond, but it's like, this is a guy who, when you turn on the film in a preseason game, like, he pops off the screen. And I think he's a dark horse to make the team. If he doesn't, then I think other teams around the league would be very interested in seeing his availability if he doesn't make the Vikings roster. And then obviously another one, Gabriel Murphy. He only had 1 tackle in the box score, but he had 3 quarterback hits. I mean, he's been in the mix a lot throughout the summer. Obviously, he's buried in the depth chart too. It's like, with Grenard and Van Ginkel, and then Turner's above him too. I have really high hopes on Turner, and Murphy has impressed more in the preseason because I don't think Turner's really playing. And I also think Turner is playing at maybe like his secondary position. Kind of like, I think when Grenard and Van Ginkel are out there, I think Turner's going to do some different things than what he's been showing in the preseason. And I honestly think they don't want to give any team a decent look at what he's capable of and what they might have him doing in the regular season. But Gabriel Murphy, another undrafted guy. It's like, I don't know where Kwesi finds these guys. I don't know if he's like recruiting them on the side, being like, just wait. I'm gonna call you right after the draft or whatever. But I'm all over the Gabe Murphy train. I mean, it's been heating up the last couple of weeks for sure.
Yeah, we love it. Some great names to watch. Again, that's what makes preseason fun. You get to look at these guys that may or may not do something, but it's exactly what it is. Look, final preseason on Friday. Leighton, what are you most looking forward to seeing from the Vikings in that finale?
Yeah, I think first thing first, seeing who's playing and who's playing where will give you like the biggest indicators on what the front office is thinking as far as like bubble players go. Like this past weekend, Jeff Okudah sat out. So that gives me like good insight on, that Jeff Okudah is a lock to make the roster. I didn't think he was in question to not make it, but it's like they feel confident in what they've seen from him to where it's like, all right, you're good. You don't need to play. Who goes out there on the first punt return? Who goes out there on the first kick return? Who are maybe some bubble guys that played on defense in week 2 that aren't playing in week 3? So I think just literally seeing who is playing and who's not initially will be key to watch. And then obviously we talked a lot about the battle for quarterback 2. That's going to be the biggest thing. I think, honestly, all 3 guys will probably play. McCarthy won't, but I think the rest of them will. And it's going to be interesting to see who gets the most snaps. See, this is a thing where I don't know if you want a lot of snaps to show what you're capable of, but I feel like the more snaps you get, the more they're like, you need to prove. Yeah. Like if Sam Howell goes out there for a drive, I'm like, okay, they're planning on him being the backup quarterback. Like they don't really need much more than him, but it's like if they give him a whole, half, it's like, okay, maybe they're actually considering like, you need to show us something. Right. And then the last thing, I think Cam Ward's going to play. And I just think Brian Flores is just going to love to mess with them. Maybe give him a little welcome to the NFL moment. Just like, I think Cam Ward went 2 for 7 in his second preseason game. And it's like, with the looks B-Flow is going to give him, he's not going to give him any regular season stuff, but still, it's like rookie in the NFL facing a Brian Flores led defense is never a fun task to go up against.
No, we can't. What about you, Jay? What are we thinking? What are you looking forward to seeing?
Cornerback and wide receiver battles, because those are two positions where a lot of guys have shown flashes. I'm born and raised Southern California. I'm a USC fan. I love Mekhi Blackman. Up to this point through camp and preseason, he hasn't shown a lot. Zamiah Vaughn is a guy who like really excites me. He's sometimes a little stiff, doesn't necessarily always, put himself in the right position, but he plays way bigger than his size. He is out there just bodying guys all the time. He had a quarterback hit, the quarterback got the ball out, and he luckily pulled back a little bit because he would have like nuked this guy behind the line of scrimmage this Saturday. So those types of positions are interesting. Wide receiver, I'm starting to warm up to the idea of the cost works and the capital works to get Adam Thielen, just because a lot of these guys, like Naylor, they don't have the hands that I'm comfortable with Addison out. I think Naylor can get down the field better than somebody like Thielen currently can, but Thielen has great hands. Guys like Thayer Thomas, he's getting a lot of work recently with the first team.
A lot of work.
And I don't think that's for nothing. It's easy to be like, oh, undrafted guy, 2 years on the practice squad. It's Adam Thielen. Like, that's not what I'm saying.
Did you know Adam Thielen's from Minnesota? I don't know if we knew that.
Did you know he was going to be a dentist or dental sales? Yeah.
Minnesota State, right? I think. Did
Crazy.
you guys know that? It's
not
Detroit
very
many
many
people do. Yeah.
But he is a guy who's been around the offense enough. 2 years on the practice squad. Before this, he knows what he's doing, and he's shown flashes. I think it was him who Brosmer targeted towards the end of the game to try to win it, and it just went a little over his head. He tried to get it. I just smacked my elbow. I'm gonna need to move that bookshelf. But got not used to the new setup yet.
We're also in preseason form here.
Yeah, we're just getting used to the new setup. But that's an interesting position. Tim Jones looked really impressive on a few plays. Do I think your true wide receiver 2 for week 1 with Addison out is currently on the roster? I do not. I think they're going to go get somebody else. But there's a lot of interesting position battles there. And to Leighton's point, the backup quarterback situation, I'd be willing to make a bold prediction. I think Brosmer has shown enough to make the 53. I'm really hoping that the majority of the reps are split between Howell and Rippon, because that's where you have to make a decision. That's really, I think Brosmer has earned us. I don't think he's not the guy I really want to go in on QB2 right now. Right. If KO wants to do it, I trust Kevin O'Connell. I don't think it's likely, but I think he's earned a spot in the 53. You have to see if there's something to work with Howell and Brett. And I would actually give Brett the edge for the fact that KO loves that guy. He's that guy who, kind of like Mullins, different play styles, has been in the room and been involved in these quarterback meetings and picking O'Connell's brain. I don't think that's nothing, but you just have to go out there and just see, hey, are either of you, not even competing with each other necessarily, but are either of you even going to be rostered? Kind of like what we saw with Manion and Mond in KOC's first year.
Yeah, I mean, dude, first of all, Thayer Thomas, I mean, he pops in practice. Like,
Insane.
Like, I don't know what the disconnect is. I mean, I guess it's like he's kind of buried in the depth chart, and maybe he's going up against corners that aren't really playing in NFL games a lot. But it's like, I mean, when he just runs like a comeback route, it's like something I've never seen before. It's like, that is just ridiculous what he just did. No, I do like Thayer Thomas. There is a name out there for wide receiver depth that has been on the team and could help in both returning and catching balls, and it's Brandon Powell. I mean, he was at the game on Saturday, and it's like, yeah, it's not the flashiest pick, but it's like, okay, so once Jordan Addison comes back, the only thing with Adam Thielen is like, okay, Addison comes back. Thielen left Minnesota in the first place because he wasn't getting the ball enough.
Right.
So now if Thielen comes here and we get Addison back, Thielen's now wide receiver 3. And yeah, he's aging and he's not the same guy he once was, so maybe he doesn't need the ball as much. But it's like, now you got Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. That's a lot of mouths to feed. It's like, and I think they're going to be reliant on this run game early in the season. I think it's going to be a lot of TJ Hawkinson. It's obviously going to be a lot of Justin Jefferson. I think it's going to be a lot of running the ball to where it's like, yeah, the wide receiver 2 like really isn't there with Jordan Addison out. But at the same time, it's like, I think there's enough mouths to feed without a wide receiver 2 on the roster right now. Obviously, I think Jalen Naylor he's at a rough camp, but I feel like he can step up when it's game time. But I think Brandon Powell, it's like, if you're really seriously having problems with the return, it's like he's a guy who's done it. I mean, he's not the greatest, but it's like he's a guy who's done it, and he's going to walk into the locker room and know like half the team. So it's like he's already been there and he knows what's going on,
Jason, I feel like Jason doesn't like this at all. Doesn't like it
Look,
at all.
I would not be mad at Powell coming in at receiver. I would not put him at return. How many muffed punts? And I think we recovered most of them, but I cannot watch that man try to fair catch a football again. I cannot. My
PTSD
mental
over here.
health cannot handle that. And every time he's on the football field, I get, and I know this probably won't happen again, I hope, I just get a little worried Kevin O'Connell's going to have him try to do a tush push again. The fact he did it twice in a row in Cincinnati, that was too many times. I just get a little worried there. No, I think he'd be good. The reason I like Thielen is just I need hands. Like, obviously, he's not going to stretch the field like he used to, but Felton, like, for as much potential as he has, I think Judd said it a couple of weeks ago, it's like he's fighting with the football.
Yeah.
I need somebody who can catch. If JJ McCarthy has pressure in his face, he's trying to create, outside the pocket. He needs somebody who I could throw it your direction. You may not be burning somebody 45 yards downfield, but I know you can bring it in. And they've been working together throughout the offseason. So they have that familiarity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
it just
true.
depends on how much it'll cost.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind Adam Thielen at all. I just think it's like, if he left Minnesota in the first place because he wasn't getting the ball enough, I don't think coming back is the right thing to do if you're worried about getting the ball. Because now he's in a position in Carolina where it's like he's getting fed.
He's the guy. Yeah.
I don't know if that stays because Carolina has 3 young receivers they've invested in, and this is really the big year for Bryce Young. They're going to want to see what he looks like with that young wide receiving core. And I think similar to what happened with Kirk last year, it's funny, these guys leave and say, hey, I want to go somewhere where I'm valued more and get more playing time. And very likely, who are they working out with in the offseason? Adam Thielen's with his Vikings friends. Kirk Cousins saying on quarterback, he wish he never left, right? So, I mean, these are things where sometimes the grass isn't always greener. I think he knows. I think he'll get more of a chance to impact in Minnesota in those first few games, especially, and as wide receiver 3 after Addison's back, than he will in Carolina this year. That's my bold take.
Is he a KOC guy, though? Is he the biggest fan of KOC?
It depends on reflection. It depends on how he looks back at 2022 and says, hey, I still disagree with how I was used, or hey, in hindsight, here's where I can see where he was going. I think it's hard to argue with Kevin O'Connell's resume at this point of any decision he makes with offensive personnel. He just won Coach of the Year. He turned Sam Darnold into a potential MVP candidate, almost made the playoffs with a rotating cast of quarterbacks in 2023. Just depends.
No,
and
sure.
I can't blame Thielen either way.
Yeah, I think he has a lot of respect for him, but it's like, I don't know. I think it's just like I don't know. It just didn't work out. I don't know if
he wants a ring, he has to make a decision probably, despite his claims that they would probably win a Super Bowl in Carolina. I think he can tell that's not working out. I think he can tell. I always got love for AT. That was out of pocket. That was a wild thing to say. But I'm sure he could probably see his options to do that. He probably will not be a true number 1, maybe even a true number 2 in many of those spots.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a mentality that he has to accept, right? That's something he has to accept, that's a new role that he is now going to have to play just at the age and stage of his career. So I think that's something that if he's willing to do that, yeah, why wouldn't you come back to the Vikings again? He's a Minnesota kid. Why wouldn't you come home? Come home. We love that, at least on the hockey side, particularly. Let's switch gears here a little bit, guys. We've got some great comments from YouTube. We're just going to read a couple that come from Sunday's Purple Daily game recap. Are you ready? How this works, boys. We just ask, we have some comments, follow it up by a question. So comment number 1, Jake Mayer 6486. Special teams kick and return game was atrocious again. So the question is, Leighton, we'll start with you. On a scale of 1 to 10, what is your current confidence level in the Vikings return game?
I think it's pretty mid. I think I'm just going to go 5, right down the middle.
Okay.
I honestly think there's guys on the roster that can do it and that can make it happen. It's just a matter of getting them to showcase it. It's like, I don't know. a lot of young guys on the team. And I think it's more of a confidence thing. Like, just got to get that confidence up. As soon as you do it in an NFL game or a preseason game multiple times, it's like maybe you start building that confidence. And then maybe if you are named the first team punt returner or the kick returner, that gives you some more confidence. I mean, I think there is a guy on the roster that can do it. But yeah, it's something that, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. If you have 3 kick returners, you don't have one. So it's like, it's just a matter of weeding the guys out and finding the top dog in order to do it.
Jason, where are you at? 1 to 10
Yeah,
punt return.
I mean, kick returner is really hard in punt returner too, because you cannot really truly simulate like an NFL game situation in camp with that. Like, you just can't. And in the preseason, you're rotating guys in. We forget even the top kick returners in NFL history were maybe lucky to have 2 or 3 touchdowns a year at the peak of kick returning. So to see somebody have even one person who's competing for that have a massive breakaway return, obviously didn't turn into a touchdown with Price, but still, I think it was 81 yards. Even to see that in such a short sample size and competing with other guys is really impressive. So I think right now, de facto, you got to work with what you see. I think somebody like Felton, if he softens his hands and kind of works on kind of controlling his lower body, being crisp in and out of gaps, I think he could be really good, but you kind of have to work with what you have. I'm less confident now than I was before camp, when I was really excited about guys like Felton and Moore and Silas Bolden, but I'm more confident than I was in the middle of camp. So I'd put me, I can't just copulate, and I'm probably maybe kind of like a 4 to a maybe 6. So I guess 5. We'll do we'll do 5.5, Alec. But yeah, I think we'll see kind of what that looks like. But I think Miles Price so far, like, you have to go with the evidence you have, and he's the only one so far in limited action to show an explosive, and you kind of have to lean into that.
Yeah, I think he's the top dog right now, for sure.
I think he has to be. And Felton's going to make the roster regardless. He's not one of those guys who's going to get cut because of his inconsistency at returner. But guys like Silas Bolden, who were really good in college, it doesn't always translate. The speed of the game is a lot different in the NFL. Even in preseason game, it's completely different. And I just haven't seen him show what I wanted to see from him yet in that regard.
For sure.
As you guys have both mentioned, preseason, it's hard to get real looks. It's hard to simulate a full NFL game in preseason. So this next comment coming from Jow9634. Who cares? It's preseason. None of this matters. Constant personnel changes. My question to you guys then is, make a case to the fan who hates preseason as to why it's important and worth watching. Jason, we'll start with you this time.
A little guy named Ivan Pace Jr. is a good example. A couple other guys, Jalen Redmond. A lot. I mean, I can go on and on about players on this team, not just this year, but in years past, who were impact strong players. I mean, John Randall. Like, if we really want to throw it back, this is where those types of guys get to shine. These guys don't get opportunities if it's not for what they show during camp in the preseason. There's countless undrafted guys. I mean, San Francisco made the Super Bowl with one. Was Brock Purdy undrafted, or was he Mr. Irrelevant?
Last pick.
He was Mr. Irrelevant.
Last pick. But still, that guy was fighting for a roster. That guy was fighting for a roster spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's Mr. Irrelevant's not somebody you remember or you think of is going to make the roster 9 times out of 10, right?
Right.
I think the outcome of the game isn't that important. What is important is the outcome of certain players. And if you want to know who it matters to, talk to them. Talk to these guys who are fighting for their life, who, you look at some of them, this is the difference between pursuing their dream or being a realtor in a year, right? Like, that, seeing that passion come out from these younger guys is really exciting. And being at camp, you get a different view of it because you're able to hear them celebrating when they do something well and see the team hype them up. But this is really I think, Jesse, you may have mentioned it earlier, like, Kwesi's ability to kind of find these UDFAs is really exciting because it's showing what this team could look like as they start to rotate these guys in more and more. And I think there's a lot of exciting potential. These guys might not do a ton this year, but these are guys that could be insanely valuable to have identified and brought in and given a roster spot to, even a practice squad spot to, in the next 2 to 3 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Leighton, what do you think?
Yeah.
How do you tell a fan that preseason matters to an extent?
I think Jason did a good job. I mean, it's like, I think one example, Ivan Pace is a great example because that's a guy who nobody had on anybody's radar. And then as soon as you stepped foot inside training camp, it was like, okay, this dude is just making play after play after play. And then he became, one of the best players on that defense his rookie year. I mean, it's like, those are the guys that pop off the screen. I even think of a guy like Theo Jackson, a guy who was drafted by the Titans and then cut, and now he's going to be the Vikings starting safety. It's like it's the stories like that. It's the Josh Metellises of the world who just got extended this offseason, but he wasn't guaranteed a roster spot when he was a late round draft pick however many years ago. I mean, he had to earn his spot, and it's like, watching these guys live out their dream and earn their spot and seeing who's going to make the roster. I mean, it all plays into week 17 and 18 down the season. Who's on the depth chart, who got banged up, who's hurt, and now who needs to step up in order to make it happen. I mean, you talked about guys. I mean, if you watch Hard Knocks or you hear about guys or coaches addressing the team when they're in training camp and when they're in preseason, it's all about laying this foundation for what the rest of the season is going to look like. I mean, I never played college football. I played in high school, but it's like that's when all the work is put in. It's not during the season you're installing a bunch of new stuff and a bunch of new schemes and you're working on all. It's like right now you're doing all that and you're laying the foundation for what the Vikings hope is going to be a deep playoff run and cementing that depth on the chart and making sure you have backups in order to fill these roles because guys are going to get hurt. It's the NFL. That's what happens. It's like that stuff is really important. I mean, you look at the Eagles last year, they had depth at almost every single position and they needed it in order to win a Super Bowl. And it's like those are the guys that stepped up in camp and the preseason and made a name for themselves.
And it's important to the fans because you get to get your tailgating reps in. You get to get back to planning your entire day around kickoff and around watching football. So really, it matters to us as well from the viewing perspective. Before we start to wrap things up, we have one additional segment that we have added on this year. Jason, can you explain? It's a TBD title. Yeah. It's a working title, if you will.
I think for now, and we'll see where this goes, maybe fouls, Facebook fouls.
Facebook fouls, okay.
Completely wild posts. If any of you are in any Vikings-related groups on Facebook, quarterback can throw in one incompletion and everyone will be talking about firing the head coach. My new favorite trend is a news page called Vikings Legacy Lounge. And this is totally real, totally certified and well-sourced news and totally not AI generated, I'm sure. But Leighton, Jesse, did you know that there is a Minnesota Vikings movie currently in the works? I believe I have it here. Yes, Flight of Legends, Purple Rain. And wouldn't you know it, they cast Denzel Washington is Bud Grant. This was such popular news that over 2,000 people liked and 800 people commented on it. Very excited about this news. That is, again, totally real and no one on Facebook is falling for whatsoever. I'm not concerned about media literacy whatsoever.
Denzel for Bud Grant too, obviously. That's the number one choice, right? Like,
oh, yeah. When I watched Remember the Titans, I literally thought 60s and 70s Vikings, totally.
That has to be where that goes, right? Like, people are like, oh, Denzel was a great coach and a football coach. Yeah, this is Bud Grant. Same thing.
I would say, though, if they did make that movie, I'd be curious. I mean, again, unless you're doing a movie being like, hey, remember the end of Friday Night Lights, how they lost and everyone was sad? How about we do a movie where they lose 4 times and see how sad you are then? I don't know what the point of this movie would be. But I don't know. Do you guys know, who would you have play Bud Grant? I have an idea.
Chalamet.
I knew you were going to say that.
Wow.
Chalamet can do it all. He can do it all.
He can do everything.
And it's totally not because I can't name other actors right now why I'm picking them. But I mean, he's just a utility man. He can do it all. Whatever you need him to do. He already came to Minnesota to do some filming. He's familiar with the area. He knows ball. He went on College Game Day last year. He knows ball.
The Damester, Matt Damon. I know it's not Boston related, so maybe
Damon's
that would
good.
be a problem, but Matt Damon seems like he could be a coach. Brad Pitt loves to chew gum, so I think that fits into the coaching regime as well, just on the sidelines.
I'm going to go the route of having somebody currently in the league become an acting star, kind of like Anthony Edwards did with Uncut Gems. I'm going to have Kevin O'Connell do it. They already look somewhat similar. You know what I mean? I just think it kind of works. So, yeah, really glad people on Facebook are totally able to tell what's real or not. Not worried at all.
I love it. So again, that's a working title of a new segment that we will bring out just to have some fun, just see what fans are saying. Fans are conversing, because that's what we are as well here on Before I Die, where we just want one Super Bowl before we die, like the rest of the Vikings fandom. That's going to do it for this week's episode. We are going to be back next week and weekly throughout the football season. Generally, we will be recording Mondays. However, with the way that the weeks have laid out, it's going to be Tuesdays. In fact, next Tuesday, live from the State Fair. Come check us out at the Score North booth, 2 to 3 p.m. There's obviously Purple Daily content starting all week long when the fair starts. I can't believe we're already in fair season, you guys. Like, I can't wrap my head around
Thursday.
I've never been.
Oh, yeah, we got a first timer here. We are taking his virginity. I'm very excited about this.
If you're coming, please bring me cookies.
Yeah. We'll have to make you a list of like the must-haves. I think.
I've heard
like,
mouthtrap cheese curds specifically.
Yeah.
Pronto pups. Because I'm pretty basic. I want to go for the first time. I don't want to do the fancy stuff like.
Yeah.
Pronto
pups are unique to Minnesota too, because I think everybody has corn dogs, and pronto pups are different. So
yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah,
we'll give you a list of the staples. Please do not eat all of this stuff before the podcast, though, because
unfortunately that's kind of the plan, because I have to leave right after. But we're gonna get there early. We're gonna get there at like 10 in the morning, me and my wife.
Okay.
So we're gonna work it off. Like, we're gonna walk around, get ready to go. So don't worry.
That'll make things interesting. That will make things interesting. But I'm excited. So come see us again, Purple Dailies, all out there all week, along with all of the other Score North shows, including Judd's Hockey Show, Plague and Falls, Twins, that good stuff. I'm gonna wrap it up as we have done every season of Before I Die with a Before I Die. Before I die, you guys, people are going to believe me that my skull tattoo is real, which I got courtesy of the Minnesota Vikings when they were doing their free tattoo giveaway. I've had a number of people be like, is that a henna? That's a really pretty henna, which it would be, but I don't know why I would do that. I would rather permanently ink my body instead. So it's real. Skull. That's what we're bringing to this next new season. As always, we appreciate all of you. Check out the remaining content on Score North. We will catch you next Tuesday live from the State Fair, and we'll talk then. Bye.